All right, guys, it is that time. It is Sunday night, and it's time for that live stream show. Hopefully, you guys are ready for a great show. Tonight's a little unique. I'm by myself, flying solo, so hopefully I don't mess this up too bad, but we'll see. Hopefully, you guys are ready for a great show. We got a lot of cool stuff lined up for y'all, and definitely excited to talk about all the cool stuff we have going on, what's coming up, show you a little bit about the weather, and show you what we're catching now and what we expect to catch moving forward. Richard Blasak, appreciate those stars. Thanks so much, buddy. Thank you to everybody else who sent stars while we were getting ready. Larry White, Craig Robinson, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for shooting over those stars. If you're not watching on Facebook, stars are just a way for people to show their support, and it's a way to kind of help us fuel the show and do more cool stuff like these live stream shows. Want to give a shout out to our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle. This show is brought to you by Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South off of 275 there. Exit 16 right before the Skyway. Great people over at Gator Gyms. Killer selection. If you haven't been by there, definitely make sure you stop by. Also, make sure to comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Don't forget to give the video a like for us. We appreciate it. Thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Double tap if you're watching on Instagram, Trovo, Twitch. We're also streaming live there too. The Real Animals Facebook page and the Hubbard's Marina YouTube page and many other Facebook pages. So appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out for tonight's live stream show. Don't forget as well, we're now streaming to Waypoint TV. So after the show ends, we upload it over to Waypoint TV, so you can always catch them over there on Waypoint TV as well. Barry Long, what's up, man? Thanks for those stars, buddy. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, make sure to hop over there after the show and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then if you want free fishing trips, if you want to win some free fishing trips tonight, you do have to comment at least one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So you go to facebook.com, search the Hubbard's Marina page, find it, find the live video, comment one time. You can watch on Trovo, you can watch on Twitch, you can watch on Instagram, YouTube, or any Facebook page, but you have to comment once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page in order to be entered into that giveaway. Then you have to watch live, because if your name is picked as one of those lucky random winners, you have to text us within 5 minutes to prove that you're watching live. So real important to make sure that you text us within about 5 minutes to prove that you're watching live. Let's see if I can get the phone number on the screen. I'm going to click around a little bit. That's not the right one. I don't see the text. Live show Sundays, maybe? No. I don't know where the text line is, but it's 727-393-1947. So again, 727-393-1947. I'll give out the phone number a few times during the show, so that way you guys know what phone number to text in if you're picked as that lucky winner. Also, that's the phone number you text when you want your question answered live during the show, because I can only see a few of the comments at a time. They pop by really quickly because of everybody commenting on the different platforms. So I only see a few comments. So if you want your question answered live during the show, you do have to text us at that main office phone number. If you Google Hubbard's Marina, that's the phone number that appears. It's 727-393-1947. So that's the text line. If you were picked as a lucky winner, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, that is the text line. Also, don't forget about our upcoming events. This coming Saturday, March 13th, we've got the Norm Schwarzkopf Memorial Shoot. It's going to be a lot of fun benefiting the Children's Home. We're going to be over there at Tampa Bay Sporting Clays this Saturday for that Norm Schwarzkopf Memorial Shoot. benefiting the children's home. And if you go to realanimals.com, click the sponsors page, scroll to the bottom, you'll be able to see the logo for the children's home. You'll be able to get all the information on that event. If you want to come out and be a shooter on a shooting team, you can sign up and join us this Saturday for that charitable event benefiting the children's home. Then Sunday, March 13th, we've got our Bass Pro Shops fishing conversation happening at 2 p.m. again, Sunday, March 14th. So 2 awesome events coming up this weekend. One at Tampa Bay Sporting Clays Saturday, and then Bass Pro Shops Sunday. So going to be a great weekend coming up. Let's get into the photos and show you guys what we've been catching over here at Hubbard's Marina. Definitely a lot of cool stuff being caught right now, and really some good fishing going on. So let's get right into it. Show you guys inshore what's going on inshore. Inshore, we've been seeing a lot of these Jack Crevalle. Jack Crevalle are definitely starting to kind of pour out of that back bay area, and we're seeing more and more jacks come into kind of more of the upper bay and more around like the mouth of the bayous, like around the Bay Pines Bridge, around those rookeries of Johns Pass. We're seeing a lot of these guys, and then upper Tampa Bay, back in the canals, the residential canals, we're seeing a lot of those Jack Crevalle lately. We're also seeing a pretty decent redfish bite. Redfish are definitely picking up. We've seen a lot of redfish lately with that warming trend, getting a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more frisky, if you will, and less leader shy, so that's been real good. Joe Vito, what's up, buddy? Thanks for those stars, man. Appreciate it, man. And redfish bites picking up, especially around those mangrove shorelines, those oyster bars, grass flats. Seeing a lot of redfish moving around. Still pretty spooky, so you got to kind of sneak up on them a little bit, overcast them, retrieve that bait to them. Definitely still moving pretty slow. Water temperatures are going up, but it's still pretty cold, so you got to move that bait slowly to entice that redfish to chew. But been a great past week on those redfish, slow-moving soft plastics, live shrimp, definitely working well. The white bait's coming back to the flats, though, so more and more white bait showing up. And if this water continues to warm, we'll definitely see those redfish start feeding more actively on that white bait as well. Sheepshead have been frothing this past week. It seems like they know water's warming up. This is their last chance, and definitely been crazy this past week for sheepshead around local structures, bridges, piers, even off our dock at Hubbard's Marina. Captain Garrett this morning caught 6 sheepshead on I think it was the end of the incoming tide. We were loading for the 39-hour trip this past Friday, and there was probably 40 sheepshead in a big ball dancing around at the end of the dock. And we've been seeing a lot of that behavior in the past, literally spawning sheepshead inside Johns Pass. So lots of sheepshead action around the bay. Snook action has been picking up. Definitely been seeing more snook as of late. Seems like that warming trend has those snooks starting to move out of those back bay areas, out of those rivers, creeks, bayous, and definitely starting to move around. So it's an exciting time. We're on the doorstep of that transitional period and getting to see more of that snook action. And we're looking forward to those snook returning back to the pass. But starting now through kind of the next few weeks, we'll see more and more snooks start moving out of that back bay area and start to kind of stage up more as they move to the passes and then eventually to the beaches for the summertime. Felice Padilla, appreciate those 500 stars. Thank you so much. But we have seen some snook in Johns Pass lately, so they are already coming back to the pass. Johns Pass isn't too far from Long Bayou, so they don't have to travel quite as far to get back to Johns Pass. Plus, we have a good water flow, so I would assume they'll be back in Johns Pass much quicker than most other passes. But definitely going to be an exciting late spring and summer with a lot of snook pouring back into the passes. Trout bite's been going pretty good. Definitely a little trickier to find them, but once you find them, you can kind of hone in on them and catch them pretty good. It's just a little tricky. You got to kind of work to find the big knot of them for sure. Red tide definitely had more of an effect on those trout, in my opinion. The trout are typically a little less apt to move around and kind of escape, and I think that's why red tide kind of affected them more heavily. Places where red tide persisted for longer periods, I think it had more of an effect on those trout. So like places like Pinellas Point, Fort DeSoto, Bunce's Pass, Blinds Pass, John's Pass, areas that had red tide more frequently and for a longer period seem to be harder hit by that lack of trout. But hopefully they'll bounce back quickly. Definitely some good areas of trout fishing. South Shore, Tampa Bay, still really thick. Upper Tampa Bay to like Weeden Island, still really thick. North of our area, also still really thick. So there's hope. Tim Dykes, appreciate those 500 stars. Thank you so much, buddy. Snook season, I believe, just opened up, but don't quote me on that. The best thing to do whenever anybody asks me, oh, is snook open, is trout open? If you ask me about an offshore fish, I would know off the top of my head. But those inshore species, I am not as apt to follow. I know snook was closed. They closed, I believe, December 1st. But I believe snook just opened back up. But gotta watch the Fish Rules app. If you go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, click Fishing Trips, scroll down, there is a Fishing Rules and Regulations page, and that has a link to that Fish Rules app. That uses your cell phone's location, your GPS in your cell phone, to track where you're standing, and will serve you the fishing regulations based on where you're standing. So it's pretty cool, but you have to be kind of careful because if, for example, you're looking to fish offshore in federal waters and you're standing in state waters, it's going to show you state regulations. So a lot of times people get confused about that. So you have to be kind of careful using the Fish Rules app, making sure you're looking at regulations based on where you want to fish or where you're currently fishing. So make sure you double check that. But snook season is open. A lot of people confirming in the comments. I was 90% sure, but look into our faithful fishing friends in the comments here confirmed I was right. March 1st, snook opened up in our area. Scraps, what's up, man? Appreciate those stars, buddy. Thank you. So let's work our way near shore and offshore and talk about what we're catching out there. Here's some big news. The black sea bass bite has been hot. A lot of people are like, what? Black sea bass? Who cares? They're smaller fish. If you haven't eaten a black sea bass, that's the problem. If you've eaten a black sea bass, you know why I'd be excited about how we are catching a lot of these big, what they call humphead black sea bass. And the reason they're called a humphead is the males will get super, super blue and very colorful this time of year in the spring because they're trying to attract the females, and they get this big hump going on top of their head. So we're getting a lot of these big, what they call humphead black sea bass, but it's just a black sea bass, but it's a big male. And they don't get very large in our area. People up in the Northeast would look at that and like, that's a small sea bass. For us, off central West Florida, this is a pretty large sea bass. They don't get super big in our area, but we've been catching a lot of them in that larger size, especially on the 5-hour half day, catching a few of them too on the 10-hour all day. Great time to get out there and capitalize on this increase in the black sea bass as of late. The hogfish, though, the hogfish just won't quit. Everybody's picking on me a little bit because I'm always talking about hogfish on the Fox 13 news segment. But it's true. Hogfish just continue to dominate that nearshore report. We're not really seeing a super strong red grouper bite. Lane snapper are doing really well, but just hogfish, and more hogfish. definitely a good hogfish bite on our 5-hour half day, and especially on that 10-hour all day where we get more time to dial in on them and really fish for them hard. Calvin Brisker, appreciate those stars, buddy. Thank you. Seeing a lot of the hogfish for sure on our, again, 5-hour half days, 10-hour all days. We're catching them on those near-shore private charters too. Great time to get out there and capitalize on some hogfish bites. I don't know why I've been having struggling with a few of these images turning over on me, so I apologize for that, guys. But here's some of our 39-hour catch. Our 39-hour came in this morning with a big pile of fish. Hopefully you saw the video this morning that showed that pile. They did really well out there on the 39-hour trip. Craig Robinson, appreciate those stars. The 39-hour, especially over the nighttime period, caught a lot of mangrove snapper. Then during the day, they came in a little shallower and hunted after the red grouper, and it paid off. Definitely was a little bit picky, but they were able to catch some really nice red grouper and still pick through the mangroves and caught solid lane snapper, big vermilions, porgies, almacos. It was a stellar 39-hour trip. Been catching some few big gray snapper or white grunts as well. Great eating fish. Great to see the kids out there catching them and having a grand old time on the old 5-hour half day. Here's another big old hump head black sea bass. Again, not monsters for those of you from the Northeast, but for us, that's an exciting black sea bass. Plus, we haven't really seen a really prolific black sea bass bite. 10 years ago, when I was younger, they were really coming back, and we were seeing a big boom of those black sea bass. When I was like 15 to like 22, we saw a lot of black sea bass pretty commonly, especially this time of year. But it's been kind of weak the last 5 to 7 years, and it seems like they're kind of making a little bounce back, which is awesome. Hoping that red tide will stay away and those black sea bass will continue to proliferate. Some big hogfish continue to be a key of that near-shore fishery. A lot of big red grouper from that 39-hour trip, but look at this lane snapper. Absolute beast of a lane snapper for sure, and great eating fish. This was from our 39-hour trip because remember, we're in that deep water closure right now, so we're fishing a little deeper to start, and then during the day we're coming in inside of that closure line, or what they call the fence, and we're fishing around 115 to 120 feet, trying to capitalize on those red grouper. And we're catching some monster lanes. So this was one of those big lane snapper. Also, the blackfin tuna cooperated for us on this 39-hour trip. We caught 3 nice big blackfins. 2 were on the flat lines at night. Probably would have caught a lot more if we were targeting them during the day. This one was brought up on the troller. Just a solid blackfin tuna. This was on a small Rapala X-Wrap lure. Definitely a solid blackfin tuna, solid mangrove snapper as well. Just an all-around really good trip from this recent 39-hour trip. Plus, one of our Regulars Club members, Eric Deskins, just got married. We're going to see a photo from his wedding here shortly. But before we get to that, triggerfish season opened up March 1st. That's right, triggerfish are open. They are open for the month of March, April, and May. They close June 1st, so we just get a brief window of triggerfish, and we should see them reopen August 1st. But we know they'll be open March, April, and May, so get out and get them while you can. Here's another big fat red grouper from that 39-hour trip. And another one of those blackfin tuna from the nighttime flatlining bit. Definitely some solid fish from this recent 39-hour. Robert Holzhauser, appreciate those stars, man. Thank you so much. I'm seeing some comments come through as questions. Remember, if you have a question, you got to text us at that phone number, which is right over there, 727-393-1947. Text us at that phone number in order to ask your question and make sure I don't miss it, because the comments, they zoom by me fast and I do miss them because they get pushed out of the way. But here's that photo from our good buddy Eric Deskin's wedding. That's Eric and his beautiful bride. Eric's wearing the yellow there. And then his father is on the left side of his bride here, and his little brother. We've got first mate Will McClure. Look at that. He does dress up. We've got Jason Porton, Captain Jason Porton, and Captain Garrett there as well. And I wanted to make it out, but unfortunately got tied up at the Marina, and then obviously had our show tonight. So I'm so sorry I couldn't make it out, Deskin's family, and Eric especially. But hopefully Garrett, Jason, and Will did a great job representing us at Hubbard's Marina. And congratulations, you all, on that marriage. That was today. That's today. They're probably still partying. So congratulations, Eric. Very cool stuff, and appreciate them sending me over that photo for us to feature tonight during the live stream show. Let's see here. What else do we got to talk about? I think we're about ready to get into our questions. Remember, guys, if you have a question, you got to text it in to that main office phone number. So make sure you do that if you want a chance for me to answer your questions live during the show. We're going to talk a little bit about the weather here as well. But first, let's give away our first free trip of the night. We're going to give away our 5-hour half-day first. Let's see who the lucky winner of that 5-hour half-day is. 5-hour half-day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Holly Back Kelly. Holly Back Kelly. Congratulations, Holly, on that lucky win. Remember, you got 5 minutes to text us your full home address in order to be eligible to win. So make sure you text us quickly. Holly Back Kelly. That was the winner of the 5-hour half day for 2 guests. So you got a few minutes to claim that free trip, Holly, before we move on. Also, want to make sure you know we still got more trips to give away. We got a 10-hour all day for 2 guests to give away, and we've got that 39-hour fishing trip going out as well. Let's talk a little bit about the weather. Then we're going to get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question, make sure you text it to us at 727-393-1947. The weather, if you go to hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing trips, scroll down under fishing trips to weather links. You're going to find our weather links page, and our weather links page is going to have all the different forecasts that we use to check the weather ourselves. I like starting under the wind finder forecast, go into that 5 and 10 hour forecast area. That's going to show you real clearly that we have some weather coming this upcoming weekend. About 6 days from now, Saturday, they're forecasting a pretty serious cold front. Today, the forecast has gotten up to 8-foot seas there on Saturday. Let's see what it looks like right now. So 46 mile an hour gusts with sea heights only 5.6 foot. Let's go back to the Weather Links page and go to, I think I got it on here. Buoy at Egmont Key. Yeah, I do have it on here. There it is. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, look at that little red line forecast. That is, oh, it got higher. Now that forecasted red line for Saturday morning, I can't really zoom in on the graph. It's not going to let me. But basically, that forecasted red line is touching 9 foot. So wind finder, this is a great example about how forecasts really, really stink more than a few days out. Wind finder's forecast is showing 5.6 foot. This CPID buoy, which is a weather, or CDIP buoy, is a weather buoy, which is a forecast that comes out of a bunch of different universities. They're forecasting 9 foot. So that's a 4-foot discrepancy between wave height forecasts for this upcoming Saturday. So it's still too early to tell. That is the biggest takeaway from that weather forecast, is it's still too early to tell. Don't put any clout, or don't change your plans. Don't freak out. Don't get upset, because that can totally change. That can go from 46-mile-an-hour winds and 9 foot to all of a sudden gorgeous. So don't freak out. We'll see how it shakes out through the week. Really, I only trust the weather about 3 to 4 days out, especially this time of year, because it can change drastically as these high pressures and low pressures fight over our area. And a lot of time, the low pressures, like the one forecasted for 6 days from now, can totally dissipate or just disappear. So don't freak out. Don't get upset, because it can change with a blink of an eye, flip of a quarter. Stevie Star, appreciate those stars. So what we got weather-wise, to run it back real fast, we've got a high pressure settled into our area. That's why we've got easterly wind flows Sunday today and Monday. And then it's going to start dissipating Tuesday, start switching out of the south as that next round of fronts start pushing down. Tuesday looks like the best day this week. Beautiful weather, calmer seas. And then Wednesday, wind picks up a little bit, but seas don't really catch up with them. So Wednesday still looks good. Thursday, wind continues to pick up a little bit. Seas continue to pick up a little bit. A low pressure is basically fighting with us, and it gets a pressure gradient going. And that's why that wind slowly picks up out of the south there Wednesday and Thursday. Then Friday, they're forecasting the wind to pick up even more as that pressure gradient tightens and that big low pressure pushes down harder. And then Saturday is when they're forecasting that front to move through. But again, super, super early, way too early to tell. Seen a lot of conversation in the comments about Saturday and fishing tournaments and plans. It's too early to tell. And the beautiful part about fishing tournaments is they're worse than I am. You guys think I'm bad about it's too early to tell. We'll wait to make a call. That fishing tournament won't make a call for Saturday's tournament until probably 6 o'clock Friday night, because they don't want to make a call too early, because the weather can change. It's way too early to even talk about or look at or put any stock into the weekend weather. So that was just an exercise to show you how badly the forecasts are showing discrepancies. One forecast is calling 9 foot. Another forecast is calling 5 foot. That's literally less than half of what another forecast is calling. So it's too early to know, too early to tell. Let's wait. By Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll have a better idea of what's happening this weekend. But we know weather 2-3 days out is something you can count on a little bit more. And we know Tuesday looks best. Wednesday looks a little better, or looks good too. Tuesday looks best. Wednesday looks pretty good. Thursday looks okay. Friday starts to get a little ugly. And then Saturday could be bad according to the forecast that we're looking at now. But it could also completely change tomorrow or the next day. So don't freak out. Way too early to freak out or put any stock into it, as I was saying. So hopefully we covered the weather pretty well for you guys. We are coming up on a first quarter moon. So first quarter moon is definitely something where we start to see water moving around, coming up on that full moon. So we're getting close, and it's going to be a pretty good week. I would say Tuesday should have a great opportunity. Even right now, we're catching fish with a static high barometer. So definitely a good time to get out there and hopefully catch a lot of fish. So hopefully we'll see you out there. Let's see what other questions. I think it is time to get into your questions. So one question I had today in person, which was cool, was someone wanted to talk a little bit about They wanted to purchase an offshore setup for deep sea fishing, bottom fishing, but they don't like conventional reels. They like the spinning reels. It's lighter, a little easier to fish with. So definitely understand that, but a spinning reel is not great for bottom fishing because of the physics behind it. When you're fishing with a conventional reel, you've got your left hand in front of the reel. A conventional reel is if you rent a rod from us, that's a conventional reel. So we have actually right on our website, if you go to hubbardsmarina.com and you click fishing trips and scroll down to fishing video links and go to fishing tips and tricks. On our fishing tips and tricks page, we have a ton of videos on here about fishing tips and tricks, how to rig, how to cut your bait, how to tie knots, how to cook your fish. There's a ton of videos on here, but one of the general tips is spinning reels versus conventional reels, and it talks a lot about kind of what I'm getting at. Is this is a conventional reel right on the cover here. A conventional reel is that typical kind of bottom fishing setup, and a spinning reel is what you would use when you're inshore fishing for like trout, redfish, snook, and definitely going to be better off using a conventional reel when you're fishing for bigger fish offshore, because the physics of it, you've got your left hand in front of the reel, the butt of the rod underneath your right arm, your right hand on the reel. So when you catch a fish, you're now using your whole body to fight that fish. And you're putting your left arm in front of your body and you're using it as a crane, and you're using your whole weight, your whole body mass to fight that fish and pull back on that fish. With a spinning reel, your right hand is in front of the reel on that foregrip, and your left hand is on the handle, and you're using one bicep to lift up and fight against that fish. Plus, if you're getting totally dogged, you don't have the option to put your foam, the foam of the rod on the rail. Whereas with a big conventional setup, you're fighting that fish with your whole body. If you're totally getting dogged, you put the foam that you're holding on the rail and you drop down to one knee and use the rail as a lever, and you can use it as a lever to horse that fish up if you're using the right tackle and a good quality rod, and you've got it choked down. The rail is right in front of the reel. If you put that rail too far up on that foregrip and you don't have a quality rod, that's a recipe for breaking your rod. But if you get a good solid meat stick and a good solid rod, and you got some heavy tackle, you can really put a lot of pressure on that fish by using the rail as a lever. With a spinning reel, you have no option. You got to hold it up. You got to fight that fish with one bicep. So instead of using your whole body, you're using one muscle, and definitely not great. Not a great setup for sure. And James Vereen hit the other topic as well for slow pitch jigging. Also conventional is suggested as well there too. So fighting belt does not work. Does not work. You're fishing vertically. You're fishing straight up and down bottom fishing. So a fighting belt is absolutely useless, totally out of the question, because if you put a fighting belt on and you put the butt of the rod in your hip, and now all of a sudden you're lifting up, you're going to high stick. In order to lift up on that fish, you're going to have to bring that rod at least to a 45, 30 degree angle away from the water. And now all of a sudden you're high sticking. You're going to snap that spinning rod in half or right at the tip like that if you get a big fish on. So don't bring a fighting belt. Don't bring a spinning reel if you're fishing for a big fish. On a 5-hour half day, 10-hour all day, even on a 39-hour, I'll bring a spinning rod and reel, but it's only like a 3,000, 4,000, maybe a 5,000. On a long-range deep water trip, I'm only using it if I see a mahi on the surface and I'm casting a little bucktail or a gotcha jig at it, or I'm knocker rig fishing with it. I'm not dropping to the bottom with a 2, 3, 4 ounce lead with a thread fin. No, not with a spinning reel. But it does work really well for a pitch rod, for a knocker rig rod, that option. And then inshore on a 5-hour, on a 10-hour, I would fish with the spinning reel more often. like a 4,000 series spinning reel, 30-pound braid, 30-pound fluorocarbon, long top shot or long leader, and a knocker rig setup or a naked ball jig setup for hogfish with the live shrimp, or even a small chunk of threadfin for mangroves, but not in deep water and not with anything bigger, not any bigger threadfin chunk than maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and nothing really bigger than 5,000. Really a 4,000 if you're using a good quality spinning reel. My Saltiga 4,000 has like 60, 50, I think it's like 55 pounds of drag. Way too much drag. There's no physical possible way, even as big as I am, you can't hold 55 pounds of drag on a spinning reel because, again, you're using one muscle. It's impossible. Physics, science, guys, come on. So conventional reels are always preferred for bottom fishing for big fish. But let's see, what questions do we have on our... What is the most interesting bait you have seen that actually worked? There is so many interesting things that I have seen that I never thought would work. One being slow pitch jig fishing in general. Those little wet spaghetti noodle rods and big old metal lures. I've always liked vertical jigging, and I've always grown up using a diamond jig and stuff, but definitely the slow pitch game with these little tiny thin spaghetti noodle rods that are super soft was very interesting when it got started 5 years ago, 7 years ago. But I would say as far as bait is concerned, I've seen chicken bones, Kentucky Fried Chicken or Publix fried chicken bones for a red grouper that actually work pretty darn well when they're hungry. I've seen what fish regurgitate works really, really well. Not to be weird, but like you catch a big fat red grouper and slap it on the deck in the summertime, a lot of times it'll cough up something, and half the time it's halfway digested, and that is killer bait because they were eating what they just spit up. So whatever they just spit up, other red grouper are down there looking for it. So whatever is spit up on deck, oftentimes, if it's enough substance where you can stick a hook in it, it's a lot of times a really good bait. So I've used a half-digested crab, half-digested fish with great success. Let's see, weird baits. Eels, I've seen that used. Mullet heads. When I was younger, I loved experimenting with weird stuff that you would never think would work. Catfish with the spines cut off for amberjack, super hot bait. Finger mullet, wouldn't think that would work, but it really works well too. So you never know. I've seen a Publix straw with a hook in it catch mackerel before. There's a lot of different unique baits that you wouldn't think would work. A buddy caught a Goliath grouper on a metal spoon. So there's a lot of things that will work that you wouldn't think would, but there's a unique bait that works sometimes that is a lot of fun to experiment with, and then there's a bait that has a great success rate. So stick to the more common, higher success rates unless you're just weird like me and you want to just experiment with different things. What are your trips that are catching sheep's head and black drum? So we don't necessarily run inshore fishing trips, but we work with Captain Mike Anderson from the Real Animals, and he offers inshore fishing charters, and you can do an inshore fishing charter with Captain Mike or his team, and they will get you set up on something to catch sheep's head, an inshore fishing charter to catch sheep's head, I should say. So that would be the trip that we would offer to get yourself a sheep's head. So if you go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, and right under our, I'll show you, right under fishing trips, go down to inshore fishing in that menu list, and there's Captain Mike's information, a little bit about him. There's some prices and phone number. So you can tap the phone number right there on the site, get an idea of price, and there's a link to his website as well. Give him a shout. He can definitely get you set up with an inshore fishing charter for Sheep's Head. Or you can just come down to the dock, and we rent rods, we sell bait, beer, and ice, and we'll point you in the right direction if you just want to fish off the dock. But if you want a charter, we can definitely set you up with our friends over at the Real Animals. You might have talked about this already. When are you doing the slow pitch jigging trips? Thank you for bringing that up and asking, because I wanted to give those a shout out. We have a slow pitch jigging trip scheduled for every month. April, no, what day is it? What month is it? March 29th is our next slow pitch jigging trip. If you go onto our website and read our latest fishing report, which is under fishing trips, you can scroll down to, where is it? More info. I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit so I can see the whole menu. Fishing trips, and scroll down to more info. There's the Hubbard's Marina fishing reports, and our latest fishing report should hopefully be on our website. Let's see. Nope, it is not. Bum, bum, bum. That's embarrassing. Well, it will be soon. It was supposed to be, and it has the dates in it. But I know the dates off the top of my head for March, which is going to be March 29th. And then we have another one in April, at the end of April. We've got another one in May as well. So we already have those scheduled. If you go onto our website and act like you're booking a 12-hour extreme trip, you'll see one 12-hour extreme on an off day, and it will have a headline that says slow pitch jigging trip. So it's booked as a 12-hour extreme. You can book it like a 12-hour extreme. The price is the same as a 12-hour extreme. It's on the same boat, except for instead of 16 people, there's only 12 allowed to go, and 11 plus me, and it'll be a lot of fun. So definitely check those out. You don't want to miss out. It's a lot of fun. If you know the fishery, even if you don't know the fishery and you have the gear and you're going out there to learn, you can do it too. Anybody can join those trips. They are public trips, so you don't have to call me and ask if you can go. Anybody can go. It's meant for advanced anglers who know a little bit about it or know a lot about it and have their own gear. You have to have your own gear. We do not rent or provide slow pitch rods, but we do sell them in our shop, or you can bring your own. What bait is best to use on the Skyway fishing pier? I would probably use shrimp right now, and you got to pay attention to the tides. Pay attention to the tides. Try to hit up that kind of slack tide area, maybe chum a little bit, not too hard, just a little bit. Get those fish excited, and then as that tide starts to move and you reach that salooner period, you'll have a good opportunity to catch them. I would be fishing the up tide side at the start of an outgoing tide right now, close to one of those little rock piles. Chum a little bit and be using small live white bait or small shrimp or even a piece of shrimp and casting up current, letting that bait slowly sink to bottom as it's kind of underneath my feet, just about to go under the pier, and you'd have a really good shot at mangrove snapper and sheep's head as well. Plus, in a few weeks, the mackerel should be thick around the pier with a ton of white bait and a gotcha plug, like a 1 ounce or 7/8 ounce gotcha plug, winged way out there and retrieve real fast would be a great option out there too. So gonna get better and better at the Skyway. What I would recommend is check out the Skyway Fishing Facebook page. I will try to find that and shoot it over to you. But Skyway Fishing Club. Hopefully Nick is watching the show, and he can put the link to his club there in the comments. But I think it's the Skyway Fishing Club. I don't know. Josh isn't here. Normally he'd Google it for me and put it in the comments. So I'm kind of one-handed tonight, guys, so I apologize. But Nick Nieves, hopefully you're watching. Put the link to your club in the comments. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? What does one need to do to prepare for a 39-hour trip? That is an in-depth question. There's a lot to it. To prepare for a 39-hour trip, you need to make sure that you're watching some of those videos. I would read the 39-hour page so many times. People will come out and they're like asking a bunch of questions right before the trip, and it's very clear they didn't read the website page in full. If you go to fishing trips, click long range, click 39-hour trip, this page has so much information on it. What to bring, what bait we recommend, recommended tackle, more about the meal package, more helpful information over here, tons of videos, and a 25-minute video about how to pack, a video about what you can and can't bring, then a lot more information down there too. So there is a ton of information, ton of helpful links. And then beyond this, I would check out under fishing trips, scroll down to fishing video links. We've got the fishing tips and tricks page, which I've already showed you guys. We've also got underneath the fishing video links, we've got the live Q&A fishing shows. So all these live shows are recorded and posted right there on our website. So you can watch. We started doing these shows in 2016. So we've been doing this show for 6 years. So 6 times 52, whatever that is. That's how many shows are up there. Plus, we've got all our Bass Pro Shop seminars listed there too. There's tons of those. We do one of those a month. So tons of video content right on our website for you to browse prior to coming out. Learn more. But the fishing tips and tricks page, check that out. Learn how to tie a double snell knot. Learn how to rig your bait on that double snell knot. The mangrove snapper tips and tricks video. The grouper mistake video, watch that one. Definitely a lot of good videos on the tips and tricks page. I would check it out before a 39-hour trip. And then outside of that, prepare for a 39-hour trip. Check out the How to Pack video, and then Estelle Wolfman, one of our guests, one of our lady anglers, actually has her own version of my How to Pack video on our YouTube channel too, so you can check that out. And also maybe check out, potentially think about preparing yourself sleep-wise, because it's about a 7 to 9 hour ride out, 7 to 9 hour ride back. You get about 20 hours of fishing time. So you leave at 3 p.m. on, say you're doing a Friday trip, you leave 3 p.m. Friday. We start fishing about midnight, 1, 2 a.m. Saturday morning. So if you're not sleeping on the ride out, then you're going to be too tired to fish that full 20-hour period. So people get really, really excited and amped up, and then they're talking, rigging rods, and then all of a sudden it's 9, 10 o'clock at night, and they don't only get 2-3 hours of sleep, and then all of a sudden they can't fish for 20 hours straight. And if you fall asleep during that first portion of the trip at night, you're missing out on a ton of good fishing. A lot of times that nighttime fishing, the very beginning of a 39-hour, is where we catch a bulk of our mangrove snappers. So you really want to make sure you capitalize on the full fishing trip and keep your bait on the bottom longer than anybody. Person who catches the most fish, or has the best chance to catch the most fish, is the person who keeps their bait on the bottom the longest. So little things, making sure you have a bait net, making sure you have line cutters, making sure that you're prepared with your rods, making sure you have a dehooking tool, a venting tool, all those tools to make sure that you're able to dehook the fish quickly, vent them quickly, and get back in the water quickly is super important, So that way you're capitalizing and minimizing the amount of time that you're messing around on the boat and not fishing. You want to make sure your bait's on the bottom longer than anybody else, and the only way to do that is making sure you're optimizing your time when you're rebaiting or re-rigging or whatever else. So prepare for what you can do by what I like to do is stay up really, really late the night before, or sleep really early and then stay up really, really basically get not a lot of sleep the night before, so you come to the boat super tired. Or cheat. My dad likes Advil PM. That's what he does on the way out. Take some Advil PM so that way he can sleep on the way out. So you want to make sure you get a good sleep, good rest on the ride out so you're prepared for that 20 hours of fishing. Next question is about the Goliath grouper. The Goliath grouper, super happy about the Goliath grouper thing. Let's get into that a little bit, but before we do, we are overdue on giving away another free trip. We're going to give away a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. That is a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. That is a $238 value. Let's see who won a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is TJ Donatelli. TJ Donatelli from Newport Richey. Congrats, TJ. Appreciate you watching. We still got a 39-hour trip to give away. Remember, TJ Donatelli, you got 5 minutes to claim your free 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. You got 5 minutes. You got to text us your full home address to our main office phone number, 727-393-1947. Again, 727-393-1947. That's the number you text if you have a question. That's the number you text if you won that free trip. You got 5 minutes to claim it. So, back to what we were talking about. Goliath grouper. I'm going to need another sip before we tackle that. A lot of people upset. We should be able to catch bigger Goliath grouper. It's too expensive. I want this wreck closed. This is a spawning closure. We got to protect them. Or the people who are like, I didn't want this open to begin with. It's too early. I like petting my Goliath grouper buddy under my dock. Nobody catch him. Dude, fisheries should be managed in science. Fisheries should be managed in science. It is not a subjective argument. It's an objective argument. Fisheries management is science-based management. That's the only sound management. Whether you agree with the science or not is a whole different study, whole different conversation. But I believe in the fisheries science system. There are certain areas and certain topics in which it's lacking, and I might have some opposition with, but overall, there's a lot of really good people that care a lot for our fishery and our stakeholders, and they really do the best they can to satisfy everybody. And that's what this does. They've been talking about opening Goliath grouper for half of my life. This fishery closed before I was born. I'm 30 years old. This fishery has been closed for more than 30 years. Once you close a fishery, because of the Magnuson-Stevens Act that governs fishery management, you're stuck in this feedback loop. You can't reopen a fishery until you can prove the fishery's been rebuilt. You can't prove the fishery's been rebuilt without science. And you can't get science without dead fish. There's 2 tenets of fishery science: fisheries independent science and fishery dependent science. Fisheries dependent science depends on fisheries. It's the easiest to collect, it's the most abundant data in open fisheries, and it's the most it's what they base a lot of fishery science on because it's the cheapest to acquire. Fishermen are already going out there. It's easy to work with fishermen and different stakeholder groups of fishermen to collect the data that they are out there on the water seeing. It has to be peer reviewed. It has to pass a third-party peer review process. So there's definitely a lot of sticky information in there, and that's where some disagreements come about. But fisheries independent science is science that's independent of the fisheries. That's scientists going out there on the water and taking their independent studies, whether it's a bottom long line index, a bottom video survey, or whatever other scientific methods or surveys, statistical survey methods that they might come up with or strategize. But those are the two tenets. And when you close a fishery, you lose the fisheries dependent science. So long story short, you can't reopen Goliath grouper and say, the fisheries rebuilt. Let's reopen this sucker and let's catch the biggest Goliath groupers possible. Because you can't prove the fisheries rebuilt. You got to start somewhere, guys. And it's super, super subjective. Everybody was either really, really in support, let's kill all the big Goliaths, they're killing the reef, or people are super opposed. There was no one really in the middle. So they got to start somewhere, and they got to try to make everybody happy, and that's what this does. It's expensive because it's a super expensive program to run. It's a small, very small slot size of very small fish because that's what they could get approved. So, long story short, super, super supportive of FWC and their recent decision to reopen Goliath groupers. It's a good start. Let's get some science. Let's get some fisheries-dependent science. Let's start opening the floodgates once we can prove the fisheries rebounded, which I'm confident they'll be able to prove over time. It's not going to happen fast. 2 years from now, you're not going to be able to go kill a 500-pound Goliath. Maybe 5 years, 10 years down the road, you'll be able to get a tag to kill a 500-pound Goliath or an 800-pound Goliath. But that's a long way off down the road once they can prove the science behind the fishery. But it's going to take time, and it's still going to be an expensive tag because it's an expensive program to run. If you get one of those tags to kill a Goliath, they send you like a toolbox full of all this junk, and you have to do mandatory reporting. Someone has to build that reporting system. They literally have to hire full-time staff to run this program. And people are complaining about a $150 tag. There's only 200 of them allowed. So 200 times 150 is the amount of money that they have to fund probably 3 new employees they have to hire to run this program. So, super supportive of FWC and all their hard work over the last 10 years to get the ball rolling. The ball's not even rolling. They just kind of nudged the ball, and the ball moved a little bit. Then we can roll it down the hill once we get some science going. Got to start somewhere, guys. So, support it, even if you don't like it. I don't really love it, but you got to start somewhere. We are running out of time quickly. Don't forget, if you are a supporter, we've got the supporters after show starting up at 9:50. So in about 20 minutes after the show ends, the supporters after show is going to start up. So make sure you join us for that. If you're one of our supporters, if you're not, you can become a supporter tonight. Right on the top of the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, you can see the Become a Supporter button, and it gives you access to our private supporters group. You get the behind-the-scenes info. You get captain and crew schedules, my cell phone number. You get more one-on-one communication, and we post some more behind-the-scenes stuff there through the week, like my little sister learning how to weld, my new actually, I can't tell you. There's a lot of stuff shared in the supporters group that doesn't get shared anywhere else. We'll leave it at that. So join us for the supporters after show. If you are a supporter, it'll start at 9:50. Also, want to make sure we remind you guys, we've got that great event coming up this Saturday, supporting the children's home. Then Sunday, 2 p.m., we've got our Bass Pro Shop seminar every Sunday night right here. We've got our live stream show at 8:30 p.m. Every Saturday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., we got our Real Animals radio show on 970 WFLA, and we stream it live to our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. And then also Friday mornings, Fox 13 News every Friday morning around 8:15 a.m. Definitely check that out. Also, don't forget to like us on TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the Nextdoor app, Twitch, Trovo, Waypoint TV now. Check out all our social medias and streaming platforms and make sure to subscribe, follow, like, all that good stuff. Hopefully, we'll see you soon inside John's Pass at Hubbard's Marina. Remember, guys, it's spring break. Spring has sprung, y'all. It is busy. Catch a taxi, take the trolley, take an Uber, Lyft, whatever it is. Whatever you can do to not drive your vehicle inside John's Pass is a great idea because traffic is insane. There's a ton of people on the beach. It took me 45 minutes to get home. I live 12 minutes away from John's Pass. That is how bad the traffic is this afternoon or just recently. Oh, my wife is watching. Hey, baby. So definitely make sure you catch a ride down here because traffic is really bad. Also, want to give a shout out to Gator Jim's Tackle. This show is brought to you. Every show is brought to you by Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive, South in South St. Pete, right around O'Neill's Marina. Definitely check out Gator Jim's. Huge selection. Tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. They give you a free gift if you got a young angler with you. So definitely tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. And book early. Spring break. Trips are filled up. And it's that busy time of year. So keep that in mind. If you're coming down, catch a ride. Carpool as best you can. And be aware that trips are running more full. Traffic is bad on the beaches because of that spring break. So give yourself more time if you're coming down to John's Pass. Remember, in May, we get a little bit of a lull. So if you're a local, best time to go is like late August to like early November, first part of December, January, early February. Right around Valentine's Day, all the way through about a week after Easter, we're real busy. And then June 1st through end of July is super, super busy. So those are the busy times of year, March, April, June, July. Outside of that, we're definitely less busy. May is still a pretty busy month, but it's less busy than March, April, June, and July. So hopefully we'll see you soon inside John's Pass at Hubbard's Marina. Hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Don't forget to check us out Saturday mornings for our radio show, Friday mornings for our news segment, and then every Sunday night right here on our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, the Hubbard's Marina YouTube, Trovo, Twitch, and Instagram, and then Waypoint TV will be uploading tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. Tight lines. We'll see you March 29th for our slow pitch jigging trip, and then maybe, my wife's watching, so I asked her about this already, maybe the March 22nd 39-hour trip. I'm going to try to slide out there, but we'll see on that one. Definitely March 29th slow pitch jigging trip. We'll see you all for the Supporters After Show, 9:50 p.m. Don't forget to join if you're a supporter. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for watching. Hey, did you exit? Hopefully you didn't exit, because there's still a 39-hour trip to give away. I tricked you. So let's see. I honestly forgot. So my bad. Josh isn't here to remind me, guys. So hopefully no one exited out. Let's see how many viewers we lost. That was a test to see if you clicked out really fast. I don't know how I can see that. There's still 160 people watching, so Let's see who won a 39-hour trip. My bad, guys. I was just testing you to see if you would hang on and test your resolve. So let's see who the lucky winner is of that 39-hour fishing trip. My bad, guys. Lucky winner of the 39-hour trip. Uh-oh. What's going on here? We should have, selected. Sorry. All right, I'm going to have to reset the Facebook picker, so I apologize. Bear with me a minute here, guys. But glad I caught that before I closed down, so appreciate y'all bearing with me. Let's see if I can get this working. Select Facebook posts. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. All right. And we're back in business. Look at that. I can fix it myself. I'm so proud of myself. Hopefully you guys are too. All right, lucky winner of the 39-hour fishing trip for one person, $450 value, goes to Andy Polens. Congratulations, Andy. That's awesome, man. Really happy he was the lucky winner. Appreciate y'all hanging out and tuning in tonight for the live stream show. For real this time, the show is ending, so gotcha. Thanks for watching, guys.